they're super jaded because of all of the scandals and what personal situations that they've gone through in the church and experiences they've had. It makes it that much harder for someone like me to convince them that that Christ is the way.
I feel your heart's always in it. You give me peace in the morning. You come through like a cool breeze on a summer day, and there's no need to worry. The odds say we win. You know that I love you. There's no one above you. I love you. Yeah.
One of the things I think that is hurting the body of Christ a great deal is or are scandals, and scandals particularly from mega pastors, preachers who have a large following and a lot of influence, and they may be caught in a situation where they're being unfaithful to their wife. Now, I want to say this, that, we all sin, and there's nobody who's perfect, though the Bible does command us to strive towards perfection. In fact, Jesus says that we ought to be perfect, even as our Father in heaven is perfect. And we can talk about what he meant by that, but certainly when he says to be perfect, he is saying that there is a standard, there is a way we ought to conduct ourselves. There are goals we should be reaching for. There is a way a Christian lives, and there's a way that a non-Christian lives, and those two, there should be a different picture. Particularly for pastors, the Bible, and church leaders, the Bible does set out a set of guidelines, a set of standards that are to be followed. I believe it's a passage about deacons that says that a deacon should be a man of one wife. He shouldn't be a brawler. He shouldn't be someone who is, violent. Shouldn't be someone who's given to strong drink or like alcohol. He should lead his family well. So if church leaders are not any different than lay members, or aren't any different than a non-believer, then the Bible would not lay out so specifically requirements to lead or to be in a leadership position. And so when I look at what's happening with church leaders, when I look at how one after the other we're seeing them fall prey to scandal, especially unfaithfulness to their spouses, I have to say this: sinning does not negate you from being a Christian. Doesn't mean that you can't find restitution and become saved again, or and come back into right relationship with the Lord again. But I do think that it means you probably shouldn't be leading in the body of Christ. And I know that's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. Many people, they say, well, God doesn't have any perfect people to lead the congregation. So, and no sin is greater than the other, and there's no big sin, small sin. So what does it matter? They ask for forgiveness. They should be able to lead. Well, I think this is causing the church to become more and more irrelevant. I look at somebody like Martin Luther King, we know now about his, alleged infidelities. Maybe they're not true, maybe they are, I don't know. The federal government or the FBI is the one putting out the information, and I don't know. The people who were investigating him at the time were known to be racist. Who knows what kind of things they could have done to the evidence. So for me, the jury is still out on that. But whether or not that is true or not true, at least when he was active and actively fighting for justice and doing all the important work that we know him for, people didn't see him as a adulterer. People saw him as a respectable person who loved his family, who was not rich for the work that he did, that he actually made sacrifices to do what he did, went to prison, his house was bombed, his wife's life threatened, his life threatened, and ultimately he lost his life. And you look at that person, and he stands as a moral example that everyone stands back and says, wow, that guy did something amazing. He has done something I don't know if I could do. And it challenges the conscience of the average person. And he becomes relevant. And Martin Luther King is so relevant that he has a statue in Washington right now, a monument that's fixed there. And he was a Christian minister. And we just don't have too many guys like that anymore. And I think the church has become irrelevant because of that. There's a number of other things as well. We are believers, and we should have supernatural assistance from God. It should seem like God is with us. We should see miracles. We should see signs. We should see wonders. We don't see as much of that as the Bible depicts in the first century, in the book of Acts, and in the Gospels, and that's a problem. But it's been proven in with Martin Luther King, the last 60 years or so, that even without miraculous healings, raising from the dead, that the church can have relevance if we simply walked in integrity, if we simply live moral lives on a level that challenges the conscience of a nation. We will become relevant. And so when we have leaders who are not able to stay faithful to their wives, and their leaders, it does stain the church. And again, I'm not trying to condemn anybody who has fallen in that way. It happens, it can happen to me. And so nobody's saying that person can't find grace and restoration in God. But what I am saying is maybe such a person shouldn't be leading, because it makes it harder for the rest of us. When I go out and I witness, and I'm going in the street and I'm talking to folks, and I'm trying to tell them about Jesus, and they're super jaded because of all of the scandals and what personal situations that they've gone through in the church and experiences they've had, it makes it that much harder for someone like me to convince them that that Christ is the way, when they've seen so much evidence that a relationship with Jesus Christ just makes you basically just like everybody else. Then what's the need to change, or what's the need to invite Jesus into your heart? And so I just wanted to go in here and and share that, because it is bothering me. And we are living in a time where, there's a global pandemic. The church should have power, I think, to deal with this. We should have the ear of God. We should have the solution. But nobody's looking to us for the solution. And I think if we at least, like I said, could have a moral, hold a moral high ground, or if we could stand as a beacon of light, as a model for the world to follow, at least morally, we can keep and salvage some measure of relevance. I don't think that to be relevant, we should be following the culture, sounding like them, talking like them, singing like them, doing everything that the world does. That makes us look like followers. I don't think that qualifies us to lead, and I don't think that's the way we should lead. I think we should stand as a light in the darkness. I think we should take our orders from God, from His Word, and from Him speaking to us in prayer as we seek Him. And so, yeah, that's it. That's what I have about this. I am concerned that we have in leadership really great speakers, but not people who are fit to lead congregations. And there's a difference. There are plenty of really good speakers who are not born again. We need more than really good speakers. We need people who can live the life they preach about when the cameras are not there. So that's it. Take care, guys. God bless you.